morning, everybody. Welcome to Morning Pulse on this Tuesday, September 23rd. I'm Kelsey Marier, your host and producer for this digital broadcast here with KTTC. We're happy to have you here. We are bringing you several stories this morning for your local news headlines. One that actually just came in the last couple of minutes, a little bit of a breaking news story. It is short, but I'm going to bring that to you because it's a story that we have actually been following for several months, or I guess over a year now at this point. So I'll start with that story. It does have to do with greater Minnesota, but it has to do with politics, so it kind of affects everybody. And like I said, we have been following this story at KTTC since kind of the very, very beginning. So we did just learn that former Minnesota State Senator Nicole Mitchell is going to be finding out this morning if she's going to be serving time in jail when she is going to be sentenced for burglarizing her stepmother's home. And this was back in April of 2024. Again, we've brought you this story before, but now we know that she's being sentenced this morning. It's actually happening right now. The sentencing time, I guess, in Detroit Lakes, Minnesota, in that courtroom where the judge is handing down the sentence, started right here at 8:30. And so that is something that is developing. It's something that is happening right now, but we wanted to let you know that that was going on. If you don't remember, former state senator Nicole Mitchell was convicted in July on 2 felony counts related to the incident of burglarizing her stepmother's home. Again, that was in April of last year. She did represent Woodbury. She is a Democrat, and she resigned her post after all of this kind of happened. So again, that sentencing is happening right now in a Detroit Lakes courtroom. We're going to bring you any updates on what happens with that sentencing, on our new news, as well as online at KTTC.com. So just be sure to follow us there if that's a story that you are interested in learning more about. All right, technically that was our first story, but we're going to get into the other headlines that I kind of had ready and produced up for you today. So we'll begin those headlines with one that is also a, is also a story we've been following. Let me see if I can get the video up here for you. Okay. A story that we've been following for a few years now. So we are learning that the attorneys for convicted murderer Adam Fravel are now asking the court for a new trial, and they want to vacate 3 of his convictions. So this is kind of a big deal. Fravel's attorneys say the verdict for his second-degree without intent murder was proven, but his other 3 convictions of second-degree murder and first-degree murder should be reevaluated. That's what his attorneys say. So just backtracking a little bit, Fravel was found guilty of first-degree murder in the death of Winona mother Madeline Kingsbury. He is currently serving a life sentence without the possibility of parole. So now what is going to happen next in this case? Well, right now Fravel's appeal is kind of in the briefing stage, and then over the next couple of months, his attorneys and the attorneys from the other side are going to be kind of continuing to make arguments, and then the court is going to schedule some oral arguments so that it can start issuing its decision. There's no timeline set for that, but we do know that it is happening and that this is kind of the next phase in this murder case that was a major profile case in southeast Minnesota. So we do have all the details about this story and kind of a full in-depth report on our KTTC mobile app. You can download that and just click on this story. Our next story, we are coming into Rochester. For this one, we are talking about this woman on your screen who you've probably seen before because we've actually reported on her before. So this is the woman convicted of attacking a toddler with a pizza cutter. This was at a Rochester Child Care Center. When was that? That was pretty recently. Well, apparently this woman reportedly assaulted someone in jail. We reported on that. Well, now she's pleading guilty to the latter incident. So 27-year-old Adriana Newbern previously submitted paperwork to plead guilty to third-degree assault in the latter case. Again, this stems from an argument that she had in prison in which Newbern reportedly hit another inmate in the face with a tablet. So the sentencing for that is happening on October 27th. That's the new information that we have. That's coming up next month. In August, a judge had already sentenced her to 8 years in prison for that daycare assault with the pizza cutter. So just a little bit of an update in the case. That's kind of a continuing case because she's now been accused of multiple crimes or convicted. So just something to keep in mind there, a story that we're kind of following as well. And we'll be following when that sentencing date of October 27th happens as well. Okay, moving to Iowa, kind of a big story out of the state, the Hawkeye State. The director of the Iowa Health and Human Services has actually resigned. Her name is Kelly Garcia. She led the department for 6 years and actually helped to merge the Iowa Health and Human Services Department as well as the Public Health Department. She merged those two back in 2022. Now, Governor Kim Reynolds came out with a statement thanking Garcia for her work. She also named who's going to be taking over that department. His name is Larry Johnson. And according to Iowa Public Radio, Reynolds did not give a reason for Garcia's departure, but again, was able to name who is going to be taking over, and that Larry Johnson, he is currently the director of the Iowa Department of Inspections, Appeals, and Licensing. So that is kind of some big news coming out of the state of Iowa. Yeah, the resignation of the Health and Human Services Director for the state of Iowa. And finally, our next story, our fourth and final story, or I guess you could say fifth, because I brought you that breaking news is technically our first story. If you love or use any of the parks that we have here in Olmsted County, the county actually wants to hear from you. It's all a part of an ongoing effort to update its master plans and kind of make improvements to local spaces and natural areas. So the Parks and Trails team is going to be hosting several open houses for you to attend and kind of share what you believe is working and where you think these parks could go and grow. So the first open house is happening today from 6 until 8 over at Oxbow Park. And Zolman Zoo. Obviously, that is in Olmsted County, right near Byron. The next open house is happening Thursday, October 9th at Graham Park in Rochester. So write those two dates down if you want to come to either or both. Each of them are going to feature some information and displays about all of the parks that Olmsted County has to offer. The event will also have some kid-friendly activities as well if you want to bring the family. So just a chance to learn more, but also share your input on what you think is working well with the parks that we have here in Olmsted County, and also what could be improved and what could grow in that area. So those are some things that are happening today. Otherwise, the other main story we've been following today is really the weather department. Honestly, the fog out here in much of southern Minnesota is basically so dense you can't see anything in front of you. So if you haven't headed out the door yet and you're kind of getting ready to do so, yeah, just be careful, go slow. It is definitely really thick fog out there this morning, and so make sure not to use your high beams, but you do want to have your headlights on so that other cars can see you, because again, it is really thick, even down to below a quarter of a mile in some areas. So that is kind of the big headline for this morning, but that fog is obviously going to dissipate and go away in a few hours, and then we're going to have a beautiful day in the 70s, and that's kind of what the rest of the week is going to look like as well. 70s and sunny and awesome. So that's something to look forward to for sure. All right, that's all the news and weather headlines that I have for you in under 10 minutes for Morning Pulse on this Tuesday. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day.